I'm sure you've been following the news with Bethesda's Fallout 76. Now, what do you mean the news, you might be asking? Because Fallout 76 has been making headlines for over a year. Although it's cooled down a bit recently, not so much in the last few days or so, though. They released this new feature, Fallout First, and they're charging $100 a year for it. The perks are questionable at best, and the private servers are allegedly not that private. That's the quick TLDR about that. But again, I'm sure you guys already know about all of that. So let's hop over to Reddit, because this place is actually a goldmine of entertainment right now. This video is literally going to be us going through the Fallout 76 Reddit and taking a look at the community's opinion on all of this, because that's what we like to do. I like to report on news, and I like to also take a look at the general consensus, take a look at the public opinion, especially when companies make big mistakes. And this certainly seems like yet another big mistake by the once really reputable Bethesda. It's such a shame, man. I used to love that company so much. Really, like Morrowind back in the day. So fun. Oblivion was good too. And Skyrim, you know, it was pretty good. But right around then, started going downhill, it seems like. Anyways, let's get into the posts. We're just going to kind of take a look at these. Starting with this one. Take a look at this. Bethesda. This subreddit has been a beacon of positivity amid rabid criticism of your game. I mean, I don't know why you got to add the rabid there. I think the criticism has been pretty fair, but okay. Its vocal anger should make you very, very afraid for the future of Fallout 76. Now, I have one caveat to that title. There was a period, I don't cover gaming news as often as other channels, so let me start with that. But when I was following the Fallout 76 story about a year ago, I do distinctively remember like a week or maybe a 3 to 4 day period at least where the subreddit was definitely giving it to Bethesda. They were not happy. Pretty much the entire subreddit was posts with, as the op puts it, rabid criticism. So there you go. But you know, that's not that big of a time. The greater scheme of things, sure, the subreddit's probably indeed been a beacon of positivity amid criticism. Now let's take a look at the post, and we'll take a look at the comments as well. It reads, "This sub has been a wonderful community. While much of the Fallout fandom jumped ship on 76 almost immediately amid an admittedly shaky release and follow-through, this subreddit has stuck it out. The sub got new people into the game, shared tips on how to make the scene more accessible to new players when the game was made free for a weekend, etc. To see a community that's always been so positive and helpful turn on Bethesda so quickly and so openly. This should be a very big sign." All right, I take umbrage with that, though. I mean, turn on Bethesda so quickly? I mean, man, you even admit it's been a beacon of positivity, and this has been going on for well over a year. I don't think you can say turn on Bethesda so quickly. There's been a lot of reasons to turn on Bethesda, and as you admit, the subreddit, for the most part, according to you, hasn't done that. So that's a weird take. Anyways, it's also weird to say so openly when this is a subreddit. Of course, it's open criticism here. It's a public subreddit, and a very big one at that. This should be a very big sign. I do agree with that, though. This should be a big sign indeed. Agree with that one. He continues, or they continue. "This isn't a group of people who have been on the fence about Fallout 76. Most of this sub fighting loves the game." I don't know what that word is actually, to be honest. "Bethesda, pay very close attention to this reaction. Your most positive, happy fans have turned on you almost immediately. Is this really the group of patrons that you want to ostracize? Honestly, Bethesda should think very carefully about going down this path. Edit. There's been a bunch of comments about how this subreddit was never really a positive one. I think I'll walk back my original statement. Compared to the general Fallout subreddit, this one has been largely positive." Oh, well, that's great. That is actually the point that I was making, yeah. And I guess you can't see some of the text. There we go. I'm going to scroll that down. You can see the text on the side there, and then we'll scroll through the comments a bit and then take a look at some other threads. But no, I'm glad the op edited that, because that's exactly the point I was making. I've already talked about that. So let's take a look at the comments. "People are buying it. Nothing people say will speak louder to Bethesda than that." I mean, how many people are really buying this, though? "Exactly. With their whole, you guys have shown us with the dates that you want, this pay-to-win garbage on the store, they've clearly demonstrated that the only thing they listen to is sales numbers. So when people inevitably give them the subscription fees, because some people is dumb, they'll use that data to go, see? Proof that you guys did want the subscription model on the game you already paid for. Told you. If we weren't right all the time, how'd we get all this money?" I think Bethesda have a bit of a problem. Look at their recent big published games, Fallout 76, Rage 2, and Wolfenstein Young Blood. They've all largely tanked. Their next one is Doom Eternal, which isn't out until next year sometime. I can't help but wonder if stuff like Fallout First is showing that Bethesda have a cash flow problem and are desperate to get some funds in. I think that's honestly a more accurate take than them like having all this money. Because, look, one big takeaway from the Fallout First perks is the fact that they are going to give, if I recall, about $16 worth of atoms back per month. Now, if the annual subscription for Fallout First is $100 and you factor in the currency, the in-game currency converted to USD, you actually end up making your money back and then some, plus the other perks. So why would they do that? Because they're trying to incentivize people to buy Fallout First. And of course, to Bethesda, their in-game currency doesn't translate directly to USD for them. What I mean is you can't take a million Fallout coins or whatever the heck they're called. I mean, Bethesda can't take a million Fallout coins and be like, hey, let's go to the bank and convert this to USD or whatever, currency. They can't do that. It doesn't work like that. So I think it is very telling that they are willing to give people atoms. That's what they're called, right? Atoms. They're willing to give people the atoms back after 12 months. So you may get back, but it's going to take 12 months. So you still would probably be playing for those 12 months. That's the idea. Keep people playing. And then they'd make that money back anyways, because the people who pay for Fallout First might not have bought it to begin with unless they got those atoms back, for example. So I do think they are desperate to get funds in my opinion. Let's continue on, though. Look up Providence Equity Partners in Bethesda/ZeniMax. Forgive their brevity as I'm on mobile, but the TLDR is that Providence has been heavily invested in Bethesda, and it's believed their influence is driving the increased monetization efforts of the company so that they can drive up share prices for an inevitable public offering. I mean, that's an interesting take. Drive up share prices for an inevitable public offering. I mean, that's not entirely how that works either, though, because listen, man, if you drive up the share prices for the IPO, the initial public offering, the IPO, if you inflate the prices then and go public, those shares will eventually level out because the market will decide supply and demand, bid and ask, blah, 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 blah. And eventually those shares would go down if they just pumped them up. So for that theory to be correct, for them to pump up the share prices for an IPO, for that theory to be correct, the execs would have to dump their shares right after the IPO as well. And would they want to do that? Would they want to get rid of their equity in the company? That would mean they probably would want to retire then too. So maybe, but I think it's a little bit of a stretch. I think they just are greedy and they don't really care about the fan base that much, in my opinion. This whole IPO theory, I don't know about that. There's a little merit to it, but it also has a lot that doesn't really make sense. Long term, not a good strategy. Short term, it could work, but I mean, listen, man, there's also literally Security Exchange Commission laws that you might be breaking when you pump and dump a stock. So hypothetically, if that's their plan and they don't talk about like, we're going to pump the price up at the IPO and get rid of it. No, if they're not talking about that, maybe that strategy would work if like one executive's kind of thinking he'll dump his shares after the IPO and then retire. That's a little bit different. But if the whole company's like, listen, we're going to have this IPO, we're going to pump the price up and we're going to dump our stock, that's going to be a terrible idea. There is legal action that can be taken against them for that. So not a good idea at all. Anyways, moving on. With their inability to read their fans, there's no way in heck I would buy their stock. Might short it though. Yeah, there you go. Inability makes it sound like they want to but can't. This is a calculated disregard. The loyal fans are simply not important anymore. The money comes from new monetization systems now, not making a good game or cultivating a loyal fan base like it used to be. The relationship has shifted from symbiotic to parasitic across almost the entire AAA industry. That's a good take. Wow. That's brutal, man, but there's a lot of truth to that one. Once an industry gets big enough, there comes a point where the accountants start making all the decisions. That goes double for anything publicly traded. For a long time, I thought it was a video game thing. Turns out it's a general business thing. It's been interesting to see the stuff, the transformations in real life, so to speak, due to my interest in video games. Let's take a look at this. Regarding Providence Equity Partners, they've invested about $500 million into ZeniMax. As you say, they don't give a crap about the ins and outs of the game and are just concerned with the bottom line for their shareholders. There was most likely an edict from on high that Bethesda/ZeniMax needs to up the revenue after a string of underperforming titles. I mean, what company doesn't want to make more money? As a complete aside, today I learned that Trump, younger brother's on the board of directors at ZeniMax. It's random. Moving on. Interesting bit. All right, we'll kind of skip this because this is too much finance stuff. I like finance stuff, but, I don't want the whole video to be about finance stuff. Let's kind of scroll down here and see what else we got. What's this? More finance stuff. And I guess we'll take a look at another thread. Hold up. What's this one, though? Exactly. Bethesda could care less if one person or a million are complaining. They already got our money. It's the whales they are trying to satisfy now. Maybe. I know a lot of Japanese mobile games go for that approach. Bethesda could not give, or they don't care about the people's wallets that are close to them. All right, yeah, we're pretty much done with this thread. Actually, though, let's take a look at this comment because it says, here's the problem with this subreddit. That might be interesting. It says, here's the problem with this sub. It doesn't know what it's talking about. Yeah, I've kind of noticed that a little bit too, but that's not really a Fallout76 subreddit thing. That's literally just a Reddit thing. And really, I guess you could even stretch it to an internet thing, It doesn't know what it's talking about. You think $13 a month private server plus additional premium currency and some extras was designed to satisfy whales? You think someone shelling out $100 a year is classified as a whale? Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, a whale, man, like I said, Japanese mobile games, these people are dumping hundreds a month, if not more than that. So I do agree with this take, actually. And that's why I thought the whale thing was a weird comment. Moving on. This subscription is not the whale bait in any way, shape, or form. The mere fact that it's heavily incentivized with premium currency, utility items, and extras is a giveaway. Yeah, as I mentioned, the fact that they give the atoms back. Continues. This subscription is far more likely at the occasional spender, someone who maybe dropped 10 to 15 bucks occasionally on the AS. Now you're hooking them up with a moderate amount on a consistent basis instead of sporadically and unpredictably. If this service was targeted at whales, it would have been bare bones and cost significantly more because as whales, they'd buy it regardless. They wouldn't have incentivized it with highly requested extras. I pretty much agree with that, actually, yeah. Let's see what this response is. It says, I think that sums it up nicely. Someone shelling out 15 to 20 bucks a month is definitely not a whale. Far from it. The sub as it stands, just taking the atoms by themselves, looks like a good buy for the users that like a monthly purchase from the shop. That's what I'm getting at. They're trying to, as many subscription models do, right? You go to pretty much any subscription model nowadays, and they're like full price if you buy a month. We'll give you a discount at the 6-month break, and we'll give you a bigger discount at the 12-month break. Now, of course, that can differ. Some people do 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, whatever it is. But you get the idea. The longer you subscribe, the bigger the discount they'll give you because they want you to subscribe, right? Because they get more money up front, and they also get regular customers that way because you're going to come back because you're paying for it in advance anyway. Moving on. He says, another title I play is Star Trek Online, and that's a game where taking a quote from Star Trek 4 Captain, there be whales here, is both a pun and a statement of fact. They're the players keeping the game afloat, and if you called someone they're spending the amount at 15 to 20 each month a whale, you'd be laughed at. That barely, if even, qualifies as chicken feed to a whale. Yeah, a whale is someone that's there for every single promotion and will think nothing of dropping hundreds, if not thousands in some cases, of pounds, dollars, whatever, seemingly on a whim to get whatever offer on a regular basis to boot. All right, so let's take a look at some other threads now. So I did what I never thought I'd do. I uninstalled. I haven't logged on to play Fallout 76 for a couple of months now due to, well, you know by now. So last night I decided to uninstall. As soon as I bring up the launcher, it tried to update. Nope, canceled that real quick. Then I clicked uninstall. That was rough because I've loved the game. Played it since the beta, defended it to my friends and the community. But I can't do that anymore. I've loved the Fallout titles always, played them multiple times through. It's time to hang up the towel and probably leave Bethesda in the dirt as well. I did the same. This subreddit is such a circle jerk. Like hundreds of posts in the sub about, I am so done with this game. But when someone like you or myself actually is done with the game and uninstalls it, those people are all like, good riddance. It's more fun to freak out on the internet forums than solve your problem, I guess. Don't understand why people have to be jerks about it, just sharing my experience. Fingers crossed Outer Worlds isn't a letdown. Actually, it's two circle jerk, one replying to the other, and vice versa. That's what happens when you have opinions at the very opposite of the spectrum. People are looking for a reason to protest amid Blizzard's drama. Still trying to ride that high. For some people, care about karma, and it's easy pickings when drama unfolds. I mean, I think that's a weird take. Like, I would imagine most of the people complaining really are unhappy with the game and aren't just doing it for Reddit karma. Maybe there's a little bit of Reddit karma incentive, but, you know, Reddit karma doesn't really do anything. Spending your money on a game and being unhappy with the purchase causes buyer's remorse. That's actually not a very fun thing to have. This one says, good for you, man. Any games you're excited about trying out? Outer Worlds, BL3, maybe take a crack at Spider-Man for the PS4. I like how they kind of took a positive spin on that. Good for you, and what are you looking forward to? Another user writes, I backed the game through all the poor decisions, up until this last patch. I also uninstalled last night. It's sad, but there are other games being managed better. So I'll focus on those for now and maybe someday come back. And that's really how I feel about RWBY. I know this is really off topic. This will be like a 10-second segment. RWBY's been going down in quality. I used to enjoy it a lot. It's at the point now where I'm like, man, despite all the good memories with RWBY, I've always been a fan of anime. I obviously haven't been a fan of RWBY my whole life because RWBY only came out in like 2015, 2016 or so. And I didn't get into it until like a year later. So it's like, there's other things I can enjoy, other animes that are really good, and I'll turn my support to them. I still hope RWBY will go well, but yeah, I can relate to that one. Let's continue on. I need to hit level 100. I'm at 98 for my last achievement. Oh man, this is a sad post, actually. And then sadly, I think I'll be uninstalling too. This poor dude is so close to level 100 that he just wants to hit it, and then he'll probably uninstall. Oh my gosh. Dude, I feel bad. Like, the dedication you put in. I don't know how long it takes to hit level 100, but it sounds like it's something that he'd be happy to hit. So it's just a shame, man. Dude has fun. I imagine he had fun. Maybe not the whole time because, 76 kind of has had a lot of problems. But the guy probably had fun for a while here and there and was looking forward to hitting level 100, and now all this stuff. It's a shame. I mean, sometimes I feel like, I don't want to get into all that. Let's just continue on. Power Armor Edition owner. I enjoyed the game for what it was, but I don't see the direction it's going as being a positive one. Was hoping for a Battlefront 2 style 180 in attitude and development. Same, I don't need space for my install of the Outer Worlds, but so long as things stay this way, I'm happy to not support Bethesda, which is honestly something I never thought I'd be saying. I think a lot of people agree with that, to be honest. As I mentioned earlier in the video, Bethesda really used to be a great company, man. At least I think it did. I really would even say it at one point was right up there with BioWare as my favorite game company. BioWare and Bethesda, Square Enix. And like, look at what happened to BioWare. Look what happened to Bethesda. I don't know. Square Enix is still doing all right, right? I don't really know. I haven't been following Square Enix news that much. And I guess that's because they probably haven't had as much bad news, I think. So hopefully Square Enix is like still good. Although actually back in the day, I think it was Squaresoft, if I recall properly. Anyways, let's move on. Congratulations, dude. Might not be easy, but still one of the fastest ways to let them know you don't support them anymore. Be proud of you. And let's hope more follow you. Smile with a wink. Have a great day. Right behind you guys. This got downvoted. What the heck? I can't believe I got downvoted. If I was logged in, I would upvote that right now. That's the dude. Reddit's so weird, man. This guy says, same, I just couldn't go on. Tricentennial Edition pre-ordered. Beta player. Day after day grinding. Waiting for the issues to get addressed. 1,000 play hours. Cringing when survival mode wasn't traditional Fallout survival. Vomiting in my mouth when PUBG Nuclear Winter launched. Then private, not really private servers launched with game features that most other publishers include for free, etc. Why a Caps Max, Script Max, and Stash Max, or Script Max, whatever that is, to make us pay for something that isn't a bonus to the game, charging us for features that were blocked, not added. Want to succeed at Fallout 76? Pay for success. Even though it was promised not to ever be that way, this relationship has a cheater in it and an unfaithful liar that has to go, so it's gone. Wow, that was poetic. This guy says good for you. 7 upvotes. I uninstalled when they did the fridge as I foresaw the direction they were going, but I always held out hope because despite the discontent with the game, I love Fallout and always wanted to really, really jump into this game. No more. All right, let's take a look at maybe this last post because it's kind of a long one. Maybe it's a good one. And then maybe we'll take a look at another thread. So let's see here. This guy writes, just before I played 76, I had gotten done playing all of the Fallout games in order, some of them for the first time. I even slowed my way. Sloth? How do you pronounce that, actually? I haven't seen that word in forever. Slogged? I think slog. I slogged my way through tactics. I knew 76 wouldn't be great, but I probably would have actually bought it for $60 if it was on Steam just to finish the saga. I saw the news. I saw how badly Bethesda messed up. I waited until the free trial week and played it then. It was just kind of generic. Bethesda clearly made some bad choices while making this game, but I would give them a second chance. Bethesda would be able to limp battered, beaten. Dude, this is actually getting a little explicit for YouTube here. Then this happened. Bethesda has lost my goodwill and my business. Fallout 76 at launch was a mistake. Oh, buggy visuals, no NPCs, bad combat. That was poor judgment. I hear Twitter has some NPCs. Maybe you could borrow some from them. Sorry, I just had to. This was intentional. This was calculated. I'm still laughing at that. I'm sorry. They purposefully decided to sell convenience instead of improving the game. And I know it's cringy to laugh at my own joke. I'm sorry. This was on purpose. Goodbye, Bethesda. All right, now let's take a look at some other threads, maybe. This one's good, but there's so much language here that I have to use my add-on and actually put an overlay over this too to be extra safe. But I want to read this one, man. Let's take a look. It says, I've supported this game long enough with 718 upvotes. And by the way, I think I forgot to mention the first thread we covered. That one had like 4,000 plus upvotes. I think it was close to 4,500. So if you're audio only, which I know a lot of viewers are, and I love that. I mean, if you're watching it too, that's also great. But I think it's cool that content can be audio only for people that want to just listen. Anyways, so yeah, if you were audio only, that had like 4,500 upvotes or so. So crazy stuff. So this guy writes, I've supported this game long enough. I'm done with this game. Honestly, it's going to be Friday night, and I like some time to kick back and play some games. I would sometimes go to Fallout 76 every once in a while, but after hearing about Fallout first, I uninstalled the game, and I'm done playing it for good. Can't believe I pre-ordered this BS for it to go down to $20 on Christmas 2018. And then on top of that, they're going to make me pay $13 a month to have private servers? No, Bethesda. Says some profanity there. I was going to say screw you, Bethesda, but he's not using screw. He's using a word with an F in there. With this said, I'm going to have my PS4 running overnight to install Outer Worlds, so it'll be ready for me when I am home from work and ready for my Friday night gaming session. Can't wait. Screw Bethesda. Screw Pete. Screw Todd. Screw everything about this terrible game. Screw Fallout. First, screw it. You had a year to get your stuff together, and you made it worse. I don't even know how you could possibly make this situation worse, but you lucked out and made it worse. Go screw yourself, guys. Oh my gosh. Edit. You even had to edit to add more. Let's see what he says. Just because this is a Fallout 76 subreddit doesn't mean this subreddit is only made to praise the game. BGS sucks. Like, really. And they treated us, their fans, like dirt and crap. They have no means on fixing it. No means on fulfilling their promises. It's just my opinion. If you enjoy the game, good. I am glad you enjoy it. But if you are a sheep and support paying $100 a month, wait, did this guy get the wrong idea? It's $100 a year. Uh-oh. You are part of the problem. Edit to I got a gold. Thanks, stranger. Was this person so upset that they thought this was a $100 a month thing, not a $100 a year thing? Hold on a second. No, he knows, because he said, yeah, 13 a month. I thought I remembered that. Yeah, okay, so he knows. He was just a bit worked up. Even in the edit after making the post, this person was so worked up that they said 100 a month. Wow, this person's quite upset. And I can't blame them, to be fair. Look at some of the comments. I feel you. I was waiting for the game to get better. Instead, they did this. Last week, I had asked people if the game was worth getting back into, and a lot of people said it was way better. I had every intention to reinstall and play. I didn't get a chance to do it last week, but now this happened. I'm no longer even slightly interested in this game. It's made me more hyped to get on the Outer Worlds tonight. Screw Bethesda. Oh, I like how this person actually said screw Bethesda. This time, that's literally what it says. Give your business to Obsidian. This one's got a funny punchline at the end. Let's take a look. It's titled, I start Fallout 76 up. Walk around. Take out a few of the same exact creatures. Remember that nothing new has been added since the Scouts. And just turn it off. It's become an infantilized version of itself. Stupid animal hats. Same repetitive creatures. No real game content added. Just a few superficial things. Okay, before I continue, can I just mention how much fun I'm having recording this video? It's just funny seeing people explain stuff like this, like stupid animal hats. I don't know, man. I haven't got Fallout 76, but I will admit I've been thoroughly entertained by it from all the news that happened a year ago and then like the news now too. Yeah, anyways, kind of ironic. Post says, there's nothing I need that I don't already have. To be fair, there actually was a typo there. It wasn't me this time. Every new download adds literally nothing to the game. It's like Fallout meets Disneyland. Wait, Fallout meets Disneyland? I think so. Wiped out survival mode, which was something I thought I could at least enjoy. Should rename it as Fallout 10, because that's the age group they seem to be targeting. 536 upvotes for this one. Let's take a look at some of the comments here. I do some events, exploring, maybe a daily or two, but I mainly log in for daily and weekly atoms to buy stuff for my camp. After all, the atom shop is the only thing in this game that gets a decent amount of content added. If I didn't love camp building, I would have quit this game long ago. Is camp building in 76 really that much better than in Fallout 4? I mean, a lot of people didn't like the Fallout 4 camp building, but I actually did. With mods, I mean, you can get more freedom and stuff like that. I don't know. Another comment, same. Too bad so many restrictions on it. Another comment, you tell me about it. My current camp is on a river. I had to put the foundations higher than I wanted, or else I couldn't even build the walls. Also, I used one of the staircase platforms and could not place floor decorations under it until I used the mat trick. I spend most of my time working around this nonsense limitations instead of actually building. And that's exactly the point that I just made with Fallout 4 building. Because you can get mods that will help work around the limitations. For example, take this cup, right? And a lot of you guys probably already know this, but for those of you that don't, and if you're audio only, I'm going to explain. I'm holding the cup. So if you were in game, if this was Fallout 76 right now and you had no mods, you could like select the cup. Actually, this is a bad example because it's better for like furniture. Not a great example, actually. All right, that shelves behind me. If you were moving that in game without mods, you would only have a certain like axis that you can move it on, and so. But if you get mods, you can actually move it a lot more specific, and the axis, you get more axis. You get more freedom to actually move it around, and you can remove some of the limitations and that sort of thing too. For example, there's some times where in Fallout 4 when I'm building, I'll try to place furniture or a structure or something, but it will like be awkwardly raised or lowered into the ground. And there's some mods that let you like adjust the axis again of that object so you can make it look right. So if this dude had mods for his issue here where he was saying that he had to add extra foundations, he probably wouldn't have had that problem with mods. So again, I don't know. Maybe 76 building is better than Fallout 4 without mods. Maybe it's even better with mods. I don't really know. I haven't played 76. But I do know that Fallout 4 building with mods does free up a lot of the restrictions. Anyways, moving on. Level 27 and haven't set up camp once. I bet that level 98 is like noob. All right, it was a bad joke. I know it's a serious topic here. Didn't like it much in Fallout 4 either. I'm seeing if I can reach in-game without setting up camp once. Well, yeah, there you go. Like I mentioned, a lot of people didn't like the base building in Fallout 4. Says, LOL, you can. It just has its perks. I personally enjoy decorating, but if you don't want to, you can just drop your camp device near a convenient spot and fast travel to it in case you need to sell something. It's useful, but not actually necessary. Let's take a look at some more of these. This game is about base building. The post is a criticism all games have, but I'd point out that these people just don't like the game. Almost every game, people say the same thing. No content. Wait, what? And it's one of the dumbest critiques of any game. What is this guy even talking about? Do you like playing the game and the core game loop? If the answer is yes, that is the motivations for playing the game. The extras are always just icing on the cake. I don't really know what this guy's talking about. Almost every game, people say the same thing, no content. It's hearsay, and it doesn't even really make sense. What do you mean every game, people say there's no content? I don't know what this guy's getting at. Let's take a look. This one has 10 upvotes. Says, I haven't played since early spring. Don't really game in the summer. I just came back to check it out. I see that there is a subscription service for private servers. Oh, that's all right, I guess, if people are into that sort of thing. Wait a second. Subservice also gives infinite stash, and turns out the private server is not actually private, just a reused empty world. WTF. Little disappointed. Guess I'll just move on and make room for something else on my console. Oh, yes, and if that's not bad enough, a lot of typos here, man. I think a lot of people are quite upset. They're making so many errors here. Your scrap box will randomly delete stuff because it is bugged. What? So you spend $13 and lose all your junk? Seriously? If that's true, man, that's absurd. This guy says, holy smokes. But hey, the people that are willing to pay Bethesda for it are just asking for stupid stuff Bethesda won't fix. I mean, to be fair, that's kind of a fair criticism of the player base. I mean, the Fallout 76 has had bugs and these issues for over a year. And it's not better yet. So at what point do you have to admit that you should probably just move on? Or if you're fine with the game having bugs and everything, you still want to support it, so be it. But, you know, there's a point when the player has to make that decision, I think. This guy says adding 1 or 2 5-minute quests every 9 months should be enough to keep people interested. Maybe you are just weird. Wait, adding 1 or 2 5-minute quests. Okay, this is obviously sarcasm. Every 9 months should be enough to keep people interested. This is clearly sarcasm. Let's see if there's any other good posts to take a look at, or threads rather. This thread's interesting. You have a witty comment, but a short one, and a long detailed comment in the thread itself. So we'll take a look at that in a moment. The thread title, I want to publicly apologize for defending the refrigerator. I thought the slippery slope argument was a conspiracy theory, but y'all were right. 3,400 upvotes. So I guess this guy might be well known on the subreddit, or the meme is just good enough that people still liked it a lot. The comments. Let's face it. They shut down the survival servers to begin charging for them. I didn't think of it that way until now. Wow. They don't know what they want this game to be. Seriously, it's obvious. First, it's a survival game. Then it's a PvP-focused game. Then it's a looter game. Then a battle royale. Then it's a sub-based MMO with 24 players, Omega lol. And Wastelanders will be them trying to go back to the Fallout we wanted from the start, when they could have implemented NPCs in the first DLC if they wanted. They have ported many assets from Fallout 4. There is no reason why they couldn't have done so with an NPC or something. They have no shame anywhere else in this game. Everyone who works on Fallout 76 should seriously go and play the Outer Worlds and seriously look at what it is that we love so much about the franchise and just how far 76 is from that. Yeah, I keep hearing about Outer Worlds. Maybe I gotta check that out too. At least from the subreddit, I mean. I was absolutely fine with the multiplayer Fallout. In all honesty, I was hype when they announced it. The fact is, everything has been a letdown for me with this game, just about. The nukes maybe being the only exception, and they were only cool for the first week or so of them doing them. Obsidian has knocked it out of the park with Outer Worlds. It has a colorful and vibrant world, well-written story, and quests that are engaging with characters you actually want to know more about. All the things I used to feel about Bethesda games, I don't know a single one of the people who are in the holotapes names besides the Overseer. Comment to that one. That's if Bethesda survives that long. Me and my wife brought a PS4 and extra copy of 76 to play together. I guess brought should be bought. Again, lots of typos on this subreddit, man. We fought through bugs and glitches to get to the end of the main quest line. But then after, we got bored really quick. Have not played since. I was about to start playing, but then the Fallout first happened, and I have no faith in Bethesda anymore. I'm going to boycott this company. I suggest you do the same until they get their act together or they go under. Can I buy another 5 copies of Skyrim first? You can do whatever you want, but I was burnt out on Skyrim after I 100%ed it the first time. No idea why people keep buying the same game over and over. No wonder Bethesda believe they can get away with this stuff. I recommend Morrowind, which I consider vastly superior to Skyrim. For extra effect, absolutely ignore any strategy guides and play the game clean. I mean, Morrowind's great, but I think it's going to be a rough game for a lot of people to get into nowadays if they, haven't played it before. Oh, the game is absolutely brutal until you raise your skills and realize you have to carry armor's tools all the time in your travels to fix your equipment. One more thread, and then we will wrap this video up because it's starting to get a little long. This one says, I'm not mad about the subscription service. I'm mad that you lied to us about it. And he starts with a quote from Pete Hines, apparently. Says, there's always going to be new content, changes in game balance, whatever it takes. And by the way, it's all free after launch. All our content, there's no season pass, and no paid DLCs. Pete Hines. And the op says, I played the beta every time it was open since the beginning. I have every Fallout game, and just about every Bethesda game ever made. I was on the forums and Reddit supporting Bethesda when it was just a mass of people spewing their dislike from the unfinished game, and people quitting and getting refunds. I was excited for more updates, but this pay-to-play, pay-to-win garbage has gone on too far. $100 a year for a few features when I already paid $60 for an unfinished game that I had to re-download several times due to bugs that took literally days? And this is how you repay the fans? That's disgusting, Blizzard. Let me scroll this a little bit. It says, again, the quote, it's all free after launch. He says, edit. Did not expect to get this much dislike thrown in my direction for this, so let me clarify. I have supported the game this long because I enjoy it. I don't constantly play. I'm only level 82, and I have fun with it. And by the way, this has 719 upvotes. He then says, I also am mad about the price. $100 a year or more is absolutely ridiculous. I'm just not mad about them offering some sort of subscription service or microtransactions because it's just like every other game out there. And I understand they need money to upkeep the servers. But for those of you here just telling me how stupid I am because this game is garbage, then why are you replying to me on this subreddit? Stop wasting your time. Now, I guess he got some dislikes at the beginning, but 719 upvotes now. So some of the comments might not reflect this thread too much because it looks like he edited it, maybe removed some stuff. For example, this comment doesn't make too much sense here. It says, you're not mad at all about the subscription. They upfront charged us, and then they microtransactioned us, and now there's a subscription? They're like a Patreon and crowdfunding run short of a grand slam of monetization. I'd rather drop another 1,000 on Star Citizen than give Bethesda a single cent. So you're one of the mythical whales that game devs cater to now. Yeah, another 1,000. Wow. At least this dude has some principle. Maybe not enough to discourage anti-consumer monetization practices, but still, I'll take it. I mean, he is giving the SC guys money. I would argue that alone makes him almost nil principles in the first place. I mean, SC is like the biggest ripoff scheme that is around so far. People literally buy insurance for shit. What? I don't know much about this. I've heard about like some crazy stuff from that game, but haven't looked into it much myself, so I can't really comment on this too much. Just kind of scroll away. Let's see. Anyone who trusts anything that comes out of that guy's mouth deserves what's coming to them. Typical snake oil salesman. I think that's referring to Pete. This comment makes it seem so indeed. Says, yeah, I'm sorry Pete is a jerk. He constantly defended Fallout 4 when it had issues. This guy says, sorry, but every game has issues. I don't know what this is. FNV has tons of more issues than Fallout 4, but people defend it. Or, yeah, they also a developer would defend this product no matter what. That's normal. But I also agree that Pete is a jerk. I mean, man, it's one thing to defend your product and one thing to make blatant lies to the public. So that's a weird take in my opinion. And I guess we'll start wrapping this one up here. Because again, this thread, the comments are going to be a bit odd because the op had edited his post, and I think a few times. So let's move on here. All right, I take it back. We'll look at one more thread for two reasons. One, this looks interesting, and the first comment up here, the most upvoted comment or whatever, or what Reddit calls the best comment, I guess, actually mentions Fallout 4. So I want to see what they're talking about there because I mentioned Fallout 4 earlier. And this is also just an interesting looking thread. It says, with 806 upvotes, Fallout 76 is done for me. Played since beta, except he spelled it P-A-L-Y-E-D. Man, the typos. It's every thread almost. It's like every post. And paid full price first day. And listen, guys, I don't really care about grammar and all that. But this is a weird coincidence, isn't it? Anyways. Says, now I don't even care about Wastelanders anymore. Anyone stopped playing as well? Apparently a lot of people. He says, edit. Fallout First is already a greedy paywall for content, but remember that this is just the beginning. Fallout 76 future will be more or less locked behind that paywall. I ain't going to be a part of that BS. Now here's the comment about Fallout 4. This guy says, I reinstalled Fallout 4. Would like to thank the modding community for once again saving the day when Bethesda decides they want to, quote, improve their games. So yeah, man, the mods, Fallout 4. This guy says, I've realized I don't actually like Bethesda games. I just like Bethesda worlds. One day if 76 gets actual mods and proper private servers, even with a reasonably monthly fee tied solely to hosting such a server, this too might be awesome. In spite of Bethesda rather than because of them, as always. By then, there should be 10 other actual full good games. If it helps, Bethesda didn't come up with the Fallout world. Fallout is basically an Interplay/Black Isle creation, so BioWare legitimately has more claim to the world than Bethesda, which bought the rights for Fallout 3. Bethesda has only done, 3 Fallout games, 2 of which were the worst in the series. Interplay/Black Isle did 2, and Obsidian did 1. This guy says, giving credit where it's due, I literally mean the worlds Bethesda's devs built rather than the IP. Exploring Skyrim, Fallout 4, 76, all very enjoyable. The level of detail is second only to CDPR's, CG Projekt Red's work in the Witcher series IMO. Those same BGS games, plots, dialogue, etc., not so much. Yeah, I feel the same. CDPR, Rockstar, and then Bethesda for me. Or at least that's how it used to be. I still have hopes that this was a one-off failed experiment and the true single-player games won't be damaged by F76. So either I read that wrong and he was saying Bethesda was the best, and then Rockstar, and then CDPR, or he's implying that Bethesda wouldn't be 3 anymore. And a few more of these. BioWare quite literally has no claim to any of the world or Fallout IP. Originally, Fallout was Tim Kane's little quiet project that slowly gained traction from his coworkers at Interplay. So all this stuff, man, I'm going to skip because, like, I can't fact check this. I don't personally know if that's true or not, and I could start Googling it right now. But again, this is a long video, and I just kind of want to, I guess, wrap this up. Let's see. This guy says, yep, same here. Paid full price for beta, having a fire sale at my camp vendor, and looking forward to play the Outer Worlds this weekend. I don't know what a fire sale is. Is that like you get rid of everything for really cheap or something? I think so. I guess. I don't know. I'm even worse. Pre-ordered 2 copies so my wife and I could get beta access codes. Oh well. Outer Worlds, here we come. I pre-ordered, tried the beta, and refunded after 2 hours. Have y'all learned your lessons about pre-ordering, or are you going to keep letting companies make crappier games for the rest of us? Smiley face with a tongue out. Yep, this will be 3-in-1. First, last, and only time. I hope so. In this day and age, there is no reason to pre-order, especially digitally. It's not like they are going to sell out of copies. I wait for a game's release. 24 hours is usually my wait time. I remember waking up early for No Man's Sky launch and literally hitting refresh on Steam and watching the score plummet over 2 hours from launch. So glad I did not buy the game because that was my plan. Wake up early, watch a quick live stream, see how the first impressions are, and break my 24-hour rule. I won't even pre-order the Stranding, but this will be another 24-hour rule breaker, I think. All right, let's see if there's any comments to that one, and then we'll wrap this up. I learned my lesson and only pre-ordered to have beta access. Wanted to see how bad the game really is. It was out of the question. I'm going to cancel that pre-order. I waited a few days hoping the game would become more stable. And when it didn't, I tried to get a refund. Literally the first time in my life a customer service rep told me to screw yourself. No way. Okay, we don't have a way of fact-checking that either. I mean, I'm all about giving criticism when it's due, but I don't know if that's true or not, man. If it is, that's insane. If it's not, people lie all the time on the internet. I'm not surprised. See it all the time, especially on social media. We'll take a look at one more of these, or 2 more of these. This one's really short, and then this one's a little bit longer. It says, I pre-ordered, played since beta, quit playing a month ago, waiting for the DLC to drop, but screw this. This guy says, yes, I started late and played through the story. The thought of Wastelanders being around the corner kept me going with the end-game grind and lack of content. But the pushback announcement got me to uninstall and just wait it out. Following the pushback news with a subscription announcement for a game that doesn't merit a subscription was enough to get me to reconsider ever coming back. The thing that irks me is the whole time I played, managing scrap space was the least fun aspect of the game. But after reviewing this subreddit, I learned it was a server limitation, so I took it in stride. The locking additional junk space behind a paywall was a slap in the face, and I picked the game up in July for $12 after Wild Appalachia. I can't imagine what someone that's been with this train wreck since day one feels like, right? And this will be the final one probably, because this is a response to that one. It says, we, since beta day guys, have been there when they really, wait a second, gosh, the typos, man, it's ridiculous. It says, literally, I'm going to read the typos and everything. We, since beta days, guys, have been there when really the game needed its fan base. With these recent news, I don't have any hope for the future of Fallout 76. It started with repair kits, then the fridges, as soon as they realized they can milk their entire fan base. He says, our fan base, and make as much money as possible from the Atom Shop, they were happy. But as soon as the income from the Atom Shop slowed down, they needed something else. Fridges were at least locked behind atoms, which you can at least grind in game. Fallout First content will always be locked behind a paywall. And the worst is that we have just seen the tip of the iceberg, and the community runs like the Titanic at full speed into this mess. All right, there's a lot more comments, but man, I think we're pretty good now, so let's wrap this one up. We could keep going at it. That subreddit's literally gold right now for entertainment, but I'm starting to need some more coffee. That's a lot of reading. That's a lot of threads. So let's wrap this one up. If you enjoyed this video, please consider sharing it, liking it, and commenting down below. And on that note, if you made it to the end of this 40-minute or so video, please comment below that you made it to the end, because I'm genuinely curious how many people actually made it this far. But if you did, shouts out. I'm glad you enjoyed the video. I assume you did, and that you didn't just leave it on autoplay or something while you were AFK. Although if that was the case too, thank you for the watch time, I guess. But hopefully you actually enjoyed this. Now some shouts out. For the video released earlier in the morning today, we got Ishra, thank you Ishra, Don Sylvie Baltazar, thank you, Lancaster Kid, thank you, Rookie, hey, thanks Rookie, Golden X, Mr. Anime 343, John Edwards, Spin Master Rockta, Anime G, and thank you all very much. I don't know why I stopped saying thank you after them. Golden X, thank you, Mr. Anime 343, thank you, John Edwards, thank you, Spin Master Rockta, thank you, Anime G, thank you. Only seems fair to do it all the same. And Rookie, thank you. I think and Lancaster Kid, thank you. Okay, there we go. I forget, man. I just want to be sure I get everyone, or I'll feel bad. So appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much for your support. That's it for this one. You know how it is. Links in the description if you want to join the Discord, Patreon, Teespring for merch, all that jazz. Appreciate your support, and I'll see you very soon. Take care.